You're taught music very young, and I don't know if it's like genetics, but you just very I think Americans are very like I don't know anybody that doesn't play an instrument that's American.
This podcast is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about obviously Childfree, the new record you put out.
Yeah.
Cool. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in the south of France, so I'm
Oh,
originally from France. I was born in Toulon, which is a city near Nice. It's between Nice and Marseille. So it's what you guys call the French Riviera. It's actually like Côte d'Azur.
okay. What was it like growing up there? I'm so untraveled. It's pathetic. So I'm curious to learn about it.
Well, it's absolutely beautiful. Like the weather is like San Diego. I know
Oh,
you.
that's where I'm from, San
Yeah,
Diego. Okay.
I know you are. So yeah, I think you would probably like it there. The weather's very similar, and it's beautiful. The Mediterranean Sea is just gorgeous, and it's warm all year long, pretty much. So we had bad snow here in New York, so I really
Oh
envy
yeah.
them right now. Yeah, yeah,
So-
it's absolutely nice, and my city is not a very big city. So it's not too crowded. I mean, got more crowded, recently. But yeah, I recommend it for anybody's vacation.
awesome. Awesome. When did you come to New York?
So I moved to the U.S. in 2004, and I first ended up in Cleveland because I had relatives there, and I did some music there. And then I moved to New York City in 2007,
Oh,
2007,
okay. So you've been there for a
2008.
while.
Yes, definitely. I'm a New Yorker.
You went to Cleveland?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that's where I have family in Cleveland. My dad's whole side of the family lives. Actually, my mom and dad were both from there originally. But my dad's family stayed. What a change from it sounds from San Diego weather to Cleveland. That must have been like,
Absolutely.
where the hell am I? It's they
Yeah.
call it the mistake by the lake, right?
Yeah, I know, but you know what? It's that great music, great people, and
Oh,
I had a
sure.
good time there. I was there only a few years ago, about 4 years, and it gave me enough time to learn more about songwriting. I had bands as soon as I arrived there, and then moved to New York City to be a singer-songwriter.
Okay. Well, let's go back real quick. I just thought that was
Yeah.
interesting that you went to Cleveland of all places. But so growing up in France, where you did in France, how did you get into music? Do you have music in your family at all?
Yeah, so my father plays the guitar, and he did play in what you'd say like festival bands and wedding bands. So he was playing mostly covers, but like he can play everything, even like tango and
Oh,
and all
wow.
that. Yeah, he can play every style of music. So he's a guitarist and lead guitarist. I'd say at the level of like Santana, like he can play Santana type of guitar solos. Yeah.
Whoa.
But I didn't do music with him, but definitely an influence. And but he stopped early to like do all this, take care of his family and all that. And
Hmm.
but I do remember going to some of his shows when I was very little with my mom. And but yeah, I first started by writing poems, and first in French and then in English, even though my English was very bad at like 9 or 10 years old.
Hmm.
And yeah, then I had my first band, so I started singing. It kind of came naturally. I was just, we just sing along with like Madonna and, pop artists or, other artists like that. And I liked ABBA a lot as my mom was listening to them a lot. And they actually came back I was going to say in fashion and trendy in the
Hmm.
90s, ABBA. And so I listened to them, and I was singing along with the harmonies of ABBA, and that was fun. And so I had a first little band when I was about 15, and with another girl singer. We would just sing together. I think I learned a lot about harmonizing that way. And then I went into cover bands. So I guess my first little band, we were already writing songs. So I was writing songs there in English. And
Whoa.
then, yeah, and then I felt I wanted to explore other people's music. So I went into cover bands. So I had two cover bands, and we were like playing things like Sheryl Crow and Sixpence None the Richer, you know, and all this like pop rock stuff. And yeah, and then I moved to the US. I had the opportunity to move to the US thanks to having relatives and some friends near Cleveland. And to me, it really didn't matter. I had already been to Cincinnati because of my relatives. And to me, it didn't really matter where I would end up first. And I was just so young. I was at 20. And I was, you know, it's just the United States, wherever I go. And the music culture is very powerful here. Like, you know, France is more about food and fashion. But the US, I know for you, you might be taking it for granted, I'd say. But like, there's such a strong music culture here. I don't know if you're really aware of it. When you go to other countries, you might see the difference. And
is it
so,
just that the music from the United States, like you're naming bands like ABBA and stuff like that. Like, is it because in Sheryl Crow, is she from? No, yeah, she's from here.
she's not
Like, yeah, so a lot of them. I was thinking Alanis Morissette, but she's from Canada. But I guess it's similar. Anyway, not too similar. But is it just because the English speaking pop songs are just big, kind of all over, or were those big songs? It sounds like there were big songs in France. Like
you mean as far as the American music culture?
Yeah, as far as American music culture goes. Yeah.
Well, you know, I think, not that I've analyzed it, but, you know, since I've lived here for so many years, I think it comes from how you're taught music in school. You're taught music very young. And I think, I don't know if it's like genetics, but you just very, I think Americans are very like, I don't know anybody that doesn't play an instrument that's American. You know,
there's a lot of them, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know, versus the French, it's just different. And yeah, of course, you know, American music, you know, is known all over the world and things like this. But I see it more as in the country, like when you're here versus when you live in France, like how much people support music and how much people are excited about live music, and versus France, it might be more like, you know, food and restaurants. And I find Americans are very creative. I mean, of course, songwriting, and in the UK as well. But you know, me as coming from France, that's how I saw it. I was just very attracted to the US, not just for the music culture, but, you know, so that, you know, the beautiful national parks and just, you know, all, you know, the whole like landscapes and cities of it. And so yeah, I hope that helps.
No, sure. So did you go to shows a lot, or did you catch live music a whole lot when you were living in France, or not so much?
There's not much. And south of France is very touristic. I guess, you know, when you go to Paris, of course, there's a lot more arts in Paris. But it's kind of far from my area, but it's still different. It's not, you know, it's probably a personal thing. I just like American music culture. There you go.
Got it.
And, you know, I know I know some Americans that say, oh, that they love French jazz, you know. I'm like, sure. So, yeah, but definitely live music, open mics, it's everywhere. Any state, any town, you'll find a place to go hear an open mic, even if it's a tiny town, which is really impressive for me.
No, I completely agree. There's always a spot, like a coffee shop or a bar or venue or whatever. There's a lot, and almost every town, there's somewhere you could go to see somebody performing.
And for you to play too, you know, you have, there's so many places, whether it's small, you know, big, you know, where you have the opportunity to play and where people welcome it. And that's pretty awesome to me.
What did you just come here? Like, what drove you to the States aside from, is it because you were so fascinated by it and you wanted to do music here? Or is that what really took you out here?
Yeah, you know, I started to get kind of obsessed by the US when I was around 12 or 13. I had like a giant book about the United States as far as the cities and the geography and, you know, that sort of thing. And I was like, wow, it's so beautiful and vast. And and big and spacious. Everything's
Mm-hmm.
big here, you know.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I was just really attracted to that, and it was just like my American dream. I guess I built my own American dream, and so yeah, I just started to get obsessed by it. And later when I had the opportunity, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the U.S. Like I'm gonna go, to live there, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what it was. I was very young when I thought that. I was at 14. I was like, that's what I'm gonna do, and so then I met some friends, and so just details type of thing, and then it just happened. And so yeah, I was just attracted, and it's like a calling. And it takes a lot to listen to your calling.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people have a calling, but then they might just ignore it and say, oh, I don't, I can't do that, and it's very important and I always try to encourage other people to listen to their dreams and listen to what they really want to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's great advice. Like
Hmm.
getting out here though, you came and you wanted to be a songwriter. It sounds like you didn't come here
Yes.
to go to college to do something
Yeah.
anything else.
And I wanted to write songs in English, and that's the thing, is that in France, I would get criticized because I was not writing songs in French, and I wanted to
Oh,
sing.
really? So people didn't
Hmm.
like the fact that you're writing songs in English.
No, because if you're French, oh, there's so much English music, so much, especially from the UK, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so right next door. And so there's so much, English music and American music. Why don't you write in French? I was
Mm-hmm.
always asked that. But why don't you write in French? And the funny thing is that, once I moved to the US, then I had the same question. Hey, it'd be cool if you'd write a song in French. And that was really cute from, some of my first bands. Even now they want to hear, but it's not in the same way. It's cute. So I do
Mm-hmm.
it, but I don't feel the same pressure and negativity about, oh, why don't you write in French? So it's different here.
Sure. Do you have to translate like when you first started writing in English, was it like, okay, I'm going to come up with the lyrics in French and then kind of translate it and see if it makes sense? Like, how do you juggle that? Or did you know enough to be like, okay, I'm going to write this whole thing in English?
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually wrote directly in English when I was a teenager, and I actually was pretty good in English. I was doing an English class.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a lot of American movies and things like this. So I would just write the lyrics in English because of hearing songs that had English lyrics. So I had like a way of like kind of knowing how the words would flow.
Right. That's
And
where I was going because it's like the cadence and the way that the
yes,
words are going to flow together is a totally different
that's a very
in two
interesting
different languages, right?
yes, it's a very interesting question. My very first album with my first American band that was in Cleveland. So I wrote with them. It was my first co-writing with American musicians, and so I wrote, fresh lyrics. And so I must say, at first they were not as flowing with the language,
Mm-hmm.
but so I got better at it. The more I would write, the more it come more like you would hear an American song. And now people tell me when they hear me sing, they don't even tell. They don't know that I'm French. They can't
I
tell that
didn't know
I'm
at
French.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were talking, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's the musicality in the two languages. So I also write in French, and I have some songs that I have in both English and in French. Like on my album Be Inspired, which is my latest album.
Mm-hmm.
I have Feel Good, and I have Si Bien, and these are the same songs. So
Just
I
one's in
wrote,
French and one's in English.
yes, so I wrote it
Oh.
first in English, and then so the process of doing what we call a language adaptation, they do that a lot for like Disney movies and things like this.
Mm-hmm.
Is you first, I mean, at least that's what I do. I first translate it, and then I'm like, okay, I need to rewrite this because that doesn't sound like how a French song would sound. So it's actually
Mm-hmm.
very tricky, and you have to make the words flow in the other language. It's an art, I must say,
Oh
and
yeah. I
it's
would
fun.
say I would think like metaphors and certain like slang words that you might use in English in your lyrics won't translate over at
Yeah.
all. and then you
Yeah.
would have to like replace the word or try to figure out a different way to say it.
Yeah, and then in the same time, you want the meaning to be there if it's the same song, right?
Right, right,
So
right. You
it's
can't
pretty
just change the
tricky.
whole song.
Yeah, I like it. And sometimes when I sing live, I mix them, so it's kind of funny. I'm like, oops, that was the French line. That so it's really funny.
That is funny. That is really funny. Do you play both versions when you do shows?
So I usually do one or the other, or sometimes
Okay.
I ask the audience, are there any French people in the room? And if somebody says, "Oui, je parle français," even if it's terrible French, I say, "Okay, I'll sing it in French. I'll sing that version for you." And it's always a great interaction with the audience.
Very cool. So moving from Cleveland to New York, that must have been a big change.
Um, well, not so much because I'm European and I had already knew big cities.
Oh, that's a good
Um,
point.
but New York is really something. I was just so moving to New York, what kind of happened a little bit the same way when I moved to the U.S. I had the calling and I was obsessed. I was like, my dad had to go there, and so when I moved, I mean, the city has excuse me, has so much energy and it's its own world. I love it. I'm in love with New York City. I think really what was different is what is even more music. And what was really different is that the business, like the music business in New York, this is where I learned the most about music business. I'm talking about, not just, booking shows, but, royalties and
Hmm.
music, TV placements and that sort of thing. So absolutely embraced it, going to, networking events, educational events, because, everything is here, the ASCAP is here. And
Hmm.
so, get to go to these events and learn. So I learned a lot. And I really love the mix of culture in New York City and the music from different cultures and countries. It's really unique.
Hmm. Hmm. So you like fully immerse yourself in learning all about the music industry. Did you go to
Yes.
college or school for it, or was it just like all about like researching and figuring out how to do it?
I didn't go to college for music. I learned mostly by reading, music business books or
Hmm.
going to those seminars. There's so many seminars, and I would just go to pretty much any seminar that I would hear of. Whether it was songwriters seminars with ASCAP or BMI. Sometimes some record labels even would do events, and I would just go. And Music Publishers Association.
Hmm.
So I learned a lot, and I'm an independent artist. I'm not signed. I do have a team, and I do have some people, that work with me. But I felt that to make sure I would navigate the industry well, I needed to educate myself, and that's something that I tell to any artist that is indie or that's trying to do as much as they can being independent, or if they want to remain independent. You gotta know the business, and then when it comes to contracts and things like this, then you gotta know when you need to delegate, like getting an attorney that is going to review your paperwork. But
Hmm.
yeah, I really like music business and learning. I'm actually doing right now. I'm doing an MBA. That was my project for during the pandemic, studying an MBA to learn a lot about business in general, and that helps for my music business.
Very cool. That's a brilliant idea, right? It goes hand in hand. It's like the people that go to college for marketing and they're like, oh, I'm going to marketing, not for my band. It's like, well, it's kind of the same thing. You got to know how to market your band and sell CDs or records or whatever. And same with music or business, you have to know how to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? Obviously. Well, let's hear about your new song. It's called Child Free.
Yes.
It's about what? Not having being child free, right? As a
So
woman.
yeah, exactly. So I found out about the actual word child free like a few years ago. And I think I read an article on the Huffington Post,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about the child free movement. And I was, oh, wow, but that's me. That's awesome. And so I started to listen to podcasts and join the groups, and being a member of the Child Free by Choice community. And I realized that, there's just so many women that are not as lucky as I am, and that they get a lot of pressure from society and their family. I never got pressure from my family because I wasn't raised as, oh, you need to babysit, you need to, you don't have kids as soon as you're, 21,
Yeah.
and that sort of pressure.
Get married, have kids, like just like
Yeah,
the
and
typical
yeah,
cookie
I
cutter
didn't
situation.
have exactly. I didn't have that pressure, and so I realized a lot of women, they did criticize and they struggle and with that pressure, and it's very difficult for them to deal with that. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I should write a song for us child-free by choice women, and let's just write a whole song, not just a little, like line or something. So, so yes, I wrote the lyrics and I produced the song, and it was a whole process for me also because it's such a personal message and it's never been done. It's the first child-free song out there where I'm singing I don't need a baby to be happy, and then at the end it's we don't need babies to be happy. So totally claiming our freedom here. And so I thought, oh, how is this going to be perceived and accepted? So I was nervous. I procrastinated it because I was nervous. That's usually what happens. And then I was like, okay, if I don't do it, like who's going to do it? What child-free woman out there is capable of producing a whole song and then putting it out and everything? So I thought, it was my duty to do it. And so, yeah, I did the whole production and finally came out in end of September. And the reactions have been really interesting. So I've been doing a lot of podcasts related to the Childfree movement, which is really awesome. And then I was asked by the New York Times to be featured with my story and the song in an article they were writing about women that made that choice too. So that was just pretty awesome. And,
that's huge.
Yeah, it's I really like PR, and throughout my whole career I've been really working hard at at keeping in touch with press, writers and things like this, and I like it. I just love PR, and this just like came to me like this, and so I was like, well, it pays off, You can just do all these interviews and enjoy them, and then at some point you get an actual big feature. And so, yeah, I'm really, really grateful. And this was really awesome. And it's been they distributed the article in all over the world. It's in Spanish somewhere and in other languages, and so that's just really cool.
Very, very cool. And the song, the cover, like it's right behind you. To your my right, your left.
Yes.
That's 55 women who are all happy child-free women. Is that correct?
Yes.
And how do you get in touch with these women and them and then ask them, say, hey, can you send me a headshot for my record cover?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I was close to finish the production, I was wondering, what am I going to put on the cover art? Like just my face and hi, I'm child-free. Hello, nice to meet you. And I was like, that's a little bit, not as meaningful. So I thought, well, since the song is for all of us, how about, I try to have as many child-free by choice women on the cover, and that would, and that I would want them to look happy. So I, with all the forums and all that, I posted some posts and stuff, and I said, hey, anybody want to join the project? And they were just so excited to be in it and to be supporting it, because I told them, hey, I don't even know, like, I don't think I'd release a song if I don't have other women with me on the cover art, because I'm going to feel awkward. And it's, even though, in my life I haven't been criticized by my close family, I know how, I still get mean, nasty comments throughout my life about, not wanting to have children. And so I thought that by having them with me, I feel stronger about the message. So Thanks for
Yeah,
noticing
it's
it.
definitely more powerful, right? To have a community of people behind you. Have you
Hmm.
gotten any like lashback on the record at all? Like from people going like, like I mean, I can't think of anything mean to say. Like, I don't know. Just
Yeah,
because it's kind of it's a topic nobody's really tackled yet as far as a song
yeah,
goes.
exactly. And yeah, that's a really interesting question. So, I did get some neutral reactions, like you. I know you have kids, and you're like, yeah, okay, you do whatever. You can have kids, you don't, whatever. And that's,
Hmm.
that's how it should be. Other people shouldn't care whatever we do with our lives. Then I got, of course, great positive comments, and I got actually some women that I didn't know that were child free by choice, whether it was acquaintances or even some of my fans that contacted me and said, hey, this is awesome. I'm child free by choice too. So, it opens up a conversation
Hmm.
and it helps normalizing the topic. And so this is always awesome when I hear this. And then, of course, there's the nasty comments. So I did have some it was some women that are mothers, right, that have kids that felt like they had to justify to me why they have children. And I said, well, you're a great mother, and this is great. I mean, the song is not about telling women that they should not have children.
Hmm.
The song is about saying that we chose to not have children and that we're happy without children. But people cannot compute that a woman can say, I am happy without having children, because the society sees women that it's a need for them to be pregnant and give birth.
Hmm.
So I got some of these women that are mothers, that they had to justify. So those just, was okay, yeah, to try to
Right.
explain, but then they can do whatever they want. The song is here. If it bothers them, they can just not play it. And
Right. And you're like you said, you're not telling people not to have kids. You're just stating like I don't want them and that's my choice, right?
yes,
I mean,
it.
for somebody that has I have two kids, I wouldn't come out and tell you like, "Oh, well, you should have them." Like that's your decision. I'm not the one that has to raise them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just like it's a lot of work. Like I'm not going to lie.
yeah.
So the fact that no one yeah, I just don't think anyone should be telling you or anyone else what they should be doing with their life. Like, why are you going out of your way to cr- critique what I'm doing? Like, how is that affecting you at all?
Yeah, it's I'm not sure where these come from. And then of course, on the internet and on the YouTube video, I've seen some really weird, nasty comments on there.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna mention them. Some of them are internet trolls to trying to
Of
get
course.
attention. And sometimes it comes from their religious background. I
Hmm.
don't know. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna just lock women that don't want to have kids. You're gonna lock them up and make sure they get pregnant. And then what is is Handmaid's Tale. I mean, so
Right. Exactly.
so
Yeah.
it's just yeah. But this song has been just great. I'm just really happy and proud to be a voice for us, and just share my story.
Hmm. Amazing. Amazing. Well, I appreciate you doing this, Lily. This has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. And yeah, I hope that people will go check out my music. My album, Be Inspired, is out there. I have 4 LPs, and I have some singles, including the song Child Free, and there's some music videos. And I'm starting to write another EP soon.
Oh,
But
cool.
check out my current music, and I hope everybody will like it.
Amazing. Amazing. I do have one quick last question. I know you touched on it earlier, but I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah, I think that education is really important.
Hmm.
I'd say try to learn as much as you can about the business, because it's such a specific field. Unless you learn yourself about it, anybody can tell you anything about it, and you would not know exactly what it's about. When it's a good deal, especially a good deal or not a good deal, And yeah, make sure that, you know, education, the good thing about education, once you have it, nobody can take it from you.